Aloha, welcome to Aloha Alive. And one of my favorite things is when I run into a former Miss Hawaii who looks and is, I mean, just her person is as good as Lauren Matsumoto, because it's not former Miss Hawaii, it is forever Miss Hawaii. Aloha, my Lauren.
Aloha, thank you for having me.
And I slipped in the cheap Matsumoto. I know that was your maiden name before you got married. I love Scott Matsumoto, your husband, the father of your children. But it goes back to part of the history we're going to talk about today. So welcome to the podcast. Thank you for taking time.
Oh, thanks again for having me.
Now, first things first, congratulations, 14 years at the state capitol.
Yes, I've been there since I was 13. Yeah.
Since you... Yeah. So she's 27 if you're doing the math, or 21 6 times. What's new and exciting now 14 years in? Because you look super young. It did not eat you alive. You have not aged dog years. What's new and exciting at the state capitol?
I think one of the things that's so exciting for me is I have been a part of our Republican caucus, right, from 2012 all the way to now. And we've gone from having 7 members all the way down to 2.
2 Republican representatives.
Yes, myself and the
Gene Ward.
Yes,
who was he was on my board for my little nonprofit. Gosh,
yes.
God bless you and Gene Ward. But down to 2, and now you're up to, I think
9.
Okay, 9 representatives,
yes.
And then we also have, I think it's 3 senators who are
at
Republicans.
One point we were at 0. We were the only state in the nation with 0. And one of the things that gives me the most hope is that we're actually creating a little bit more balance in the legislature. And most people, when they're voting, they're not thinking about that balance piece, but it matters so much. And I always say, and I'm a Republican through and through, but if there is one side that has control and a super majority, no matter what party, it's not going to bring great things, because you're not having those conversations.
No.
Bills just fly through.
Yep.
And one side being in power for so long is never a good thing. So the beautiful stuff is having 9 now, is we are able to have that balance.
Yes.
And able to actually have a lot more conversations on the floor about a lot of these bills.
And just for example, some of the bills, I was talking to Eva Andrade about what's coming up this session, is like legalizing marijuana, right? It's legalizing sports gambling. And a lot of us who are watching this program would say, I don't believe in legalizing drugs. We all know marijuana can be the gateway drug for things that are much more serious. If you think about the fact that if I legalize marijuana, we're talking about gummies for pre-K people, for little babies, for keiki in schools. So when we have more voices at the table to say, stop, hold on. I just saw Representative Diamond Garcia at an event, and he said it was thanks to you, the people, showing up and showing out at the state capitol, sending in your testimonies, because a lot of us work 2-3 jobs. Lauren, thank you for being at the state capitol as our representative. But a lot of us can't get there because we're working so hard. So send it in via testimony. Now, that's the topic we're talking about today. Does my vote even count?
Absolutely. And so we're talking about testimony, and this is one of my favorite things to talk about, because it does matter. Just like Diamond said, we only have our 9 votes, or there's 51 total in the House. Sometimes bills, when I sit in committee, there's not one piece of testimony. However, if there's something very controversial, like the legalizing marijuana, when people came out in droves, or there was also the mandate for vaccines. We had over 2,000 pieces of testimony.
Thank goodness.
And that was a bill that I thought this is going to happen. It's one of the initiatives from the executive branch. It has everything. It has everything behind it. This is going to happen. And seeing everybody come out and being able to change the minds, because when you have 2,000 pieces of testimony, you can't ignore that.
That's amazing.
And so we have a great, on our Hawaii House GOP website, we have videos on how to testify. So people get scared going, I don't know how to testify.
Right.
What does that mean?
Yes.
And I always
how do I submit it? Where do I go? I used to be one of those people, Lauren, until about 2013, when at that time it was the same-sex marriage that was going to go into law here in the state of Hawaii, against the will of the people over many decades being expressed, and against the will of God as I read it in the Bible. But back to what you're saying, I was scared. And here I was, a media personality. I didn't know how to give testimony. I literally stood at the gate right by Father Damien at the state capitol, and I said, which way do I go? And they're like, well, that side's the Senate and this side is the representatives. So go this way.
Yes.
I had to ask the brown shirts, the sheriffs.
Yep.
So you guys now have that on the Republican caucus website.
We have a video. Or you can go to my website, repmatsumoto.com. We have a really fun, I always joke, it's like a Hawaiian Airlines safety, before you fly.
Yes.
So I will say it's a little cheesy.
We love those.
Yes.
I love the safety videos that are funny and cheesy.
So, there's even me throwing my son a baseball.
Nice.
Because we're trying to make the point. COVID has had a lot of things that were negative.
Yeah.
One of the positives is now, before you'd have to come to the state capitol, you'd have to sit for hours and
Yep.
wait to testify.
Yes.
Now you can testify via Zoom.
Woohoo!
And one of my favorite stories, I just have to tell real quick.
Please do.
Yes. It was the first time we were doing Zoom testimony. I was sitting in the transportation committee, and one of the bills came up, and I can't even remember which one it is now, but there was a gentleman from Molokai who was zooming in. He is crouching in the bushes with his phone in full camo gear because he was in the middle of hunting.
I was going to say, hunt us. Where's the
Yes.
dogs?
And I remember looking up going, if that is not access to the state legislature, I don't know what is. And
Yes, sir.
I stopped and I took a picture.
I love that.
Because it just sat with me going, we have now made it accessible. And what was so exciting is our Republican caucus actually put in bills for 4 years to have remote testimony.
Wow.
And we were saying it's not possible. And it took COVID to make it happen.
That's
so
amazing.
Out of all the negatives that can happen, there are those silver linings. So to encourage
Huge
people,
silver lining in what was a tsunami of negatives. But I love too that you saw Brother Molokai in the bushes with the dogs in his camo, and there's you. How's you taking a photo of the screen? I love that you see the constituents that you represent as a representatives.
And that involvement is one of the things I care about so much. So if you go to repmatsumoto.com, we have it for all. We have a video if you want. There's a PDF if you're somebody who likes to read. We also have a really cool activity book for kids.
Yeah.
I had one of my community members. She turned me into a cartoon. So kind of my dream. I got to be a cartoon.
Like an avatar, right?
Yep. Which
or
is funny
an emoji, bitmoji.
now with AI, you can do it in 2 seconds. But back in the day, 6 years ago when we made it, somebody actually had
real
to draw
graphic
me.
artists.
Yes. And she did an amazing job. And I have 3 sidekicks, right? I've got Honu, Ilio, and Nene. And they teach about the legislative process. But even if you're an adult, it's super helpful to learn.
Yes.
We even break it down how to simply testify. We show you how to write it.
I want to read this
word.
because I author children's books, and my whole point in targeting a 3 to 5 year old is that, as my mentor said, if you take the cookies off the top shelf and put them on the bottom shelf, everybody likes cookies and everybody's going to eat the cookies. But if you speak too highfalutin and too much technology, then no one's going to pay attention. Maybe a few, but I'd rather grab everybody and come get the cookies. So this is on your website.
On my website. You click on how to get involved and you have all of those resources right there. And that book is available with PDF.
I love it.
Or you can come to my office, room 302, come on down.
State Capitol.
We have the actual hard copies.
I'm going to come. I'm going to take you up on it. And we have sessions starting up. I always come and drop by and bring lei for you. Now, I want to pivot on that. You're a daughter of Hawaii. Your family has been here since the 1800s.
Yeah, 1859 is when my family came. I just look like I'm from Oklahoma.
No, but you speak Olelo Hawaii very nicely. It's not awkward. You don't sound like, I'm just going to say it, some haole person trying to speak pidgin, right? But you also bear the Aloha mantle very well.
Oh,
Can you tell us, how did your family start here? And I did slip in the cheap Matsumoto because that's her maiden name. And she also made me laugh on, that's how you used to run for office.
Yes. So what was fun is when I was cheap, if you have a last name like Cheap, you got to have fun with it.
You got to have a sense of humor.
Yeah. And so my family had an egg farm in Wahiawa, Peterson's Upland Farm, which unfortunately just closed a year and a half ago after 114 years of being in business. So I was the 4th generation. But we took a little chick and we had a talk bubble that said cheap, cheap. And I took half a dozen eggs door to door. But I was saying earlier, what I loved is my second election, I had gotten married. And so at every door I knocked and I got to say, I'm not cheap anymore. I'm Matsumoto now. And it was great because I would get a laugh at every door. And what a way to break the ice when you're walking door to door.
Right. Especially from a politician, which I'm sorry, but most times, even in this Aloha state of Hawaii, it's just like one more thing. And you're like,
Yeah.
But if you crack a joke like that,
Yeah.
and self-effacing humor, right? Self-deprecating humor is often the most popular because
Yeah.
obviously it shows me you, number one, have a sense of humor. Number two, you can laugh at yourself, not
Yeah.
just make fun of other people. So I
Yeah.
love that. I'm not cheap anymore.
Yes. And I've even learned in my time in office, I step out of that mold often. Like I dress up for our community parades. Like I've been Elsa and Princess Peach and Joy
I
from
love
Inside Out.
it.
But I realize the more accessible I am, the more that I'm out there, the more that I'm jump roping in the schools.
Yes.
When something serious happens, people, they know me.
You're approachable.
We're there. Yes, we've already built that relationship.
You're
and so,
salt of the earth, humble. You're the girl next door, literally. And speaking of that, you are Representative Matsumoto of District 38.
Yes.
Mililani, which I learned on her website is to praise heaven, right? And Lani, heaven, Mililani, to lift your hands and praise heaven. But you went to Mililani Waena Elementary. You went to Mililani middle school. And then she went to Mililani High School. Is it the Trojans?
Trojans.
Trojans.
Yes.
And she then went on to UH where she played water polo. Like you're the through and through Hawaii girl.
Yep.
Talk to me about some of your favorite things about living Hawaii.
Yeah, and what's great about being able, I get to represent the community that I was born and raised in.
That's amazing.
So my teachers are still at the schools. One of the coolest things that just popped into my head that I got to do this year, and I give out certificates all the time.
Yeah.
And this year, the Central Area Teacher of the Year was my 7th grade teacher.
Wow.
And I got to have him the very first day in the very first class
Oh,
that
no
he ever
ways.
taught. And
What's
like I
his
said,
name?
His name is Chris Justo. So Mr. Justo,
Oh,
you're amazing. You do a great job.
At Mililani Middle
at
School.
Mililani Middle. And,
Oh, bless him.
and he won that award this
Faithful.
year. And again, I give out awards all the time. And this was the first time I ever cried during an award because that was something that came so full circle for me. Like, how special is it that I get to, again, represent, the community that raised me.
Yeah.
Which makes it so neat. And when I go door to door, my district reapportionment, that's a whole conversation. We could do a whole show just on reapportionment. But my district used to be Mililani to the North Shore.
Yeah.
And my dad grew up in Waialua. My
Wow.
mom grew up in Wahiawa, right, with Peterson Farm. And then I grew up in Mililani. And what was neat is every door I knocked on, almost every single one was, oh, my son used to play soccer with your brother. Or I used to work with your grandmother. And I'm like, Carol or Susie, which one? And so,
That's amazing.
I always say I don't pretend that I won on my own accord.
Wow.
Just that my
Lauren.
family background.
Yes.
And just, luckily I have a really lovely, kind family. But
And you have
it's gone a
deep
long way.
roots in the Aina. You
Yeah.
are a keiki of the Aina, right? A child of our community. But you also give back a lot, Lauren. And so that's one of the things as I look at what we're talking about is your heart. And in a super majority square building, the state capitol is a square building. We often refer to it that way.
Yes.
I was going to ask you, you're a Republican in a super majority. It's a largely Democrat place. It has been for decades. How do you hold on to hope?
I think
But it sounds like you have your why with your community because
Yeah.
you're right there. I don't know many people who grew up and are still in their same community and everybody was Ohana back in the day.
Yeah. And I think it was two things. I think first and foremost, my faith is a
good.
strong foundation because I always say that square building is an alter reality.
Yes, it is.
It's very
Thank you for
easy-
saying it plain
yeah.
and simple.
And it's very easy to get caught up, and I'm going to say in the game
Yeah.
of it all. And so I'm very blessed that, to have that, I feel like you need that moral compass in order. And even with that, it is difficult.
Yes.
But I also have a family that keeps me in check. One of my favorite things is I tell this story. It took me, so when I ran for Miss Hawaii, it's a whole story in itself. Like, didn't even know how to do pageants. I was, water polo player. I just did it for film school.
You're more
project.
of a jock, as I would
Yes.
see you as water polo is intense. Good for
Yeah.
you.
So that wasn't something I thought I'd do, but it took me 4 years to win Miss Hawaii.
Really?
A long time. So I
So is that 4 attempts? Because
4
I've had
attempts.
friends who, it was 2 times, I think, for Pili Aloha Gaisen
Yeah.
and for Le'ui Kaholokula, who is now on KITV. It was multiple times as well.
Yep.
So for you, it was 4 times.
4 times.
Wow.
Top 10, second runner-up, second runner-up, and then finally was blessed to win. And I always, when I tell my story to schools, I go, especially at high school, I go, imagine your entire high school career
Yeah.
working towards one goal.
Right.
Like that's
Yeah.
a long time.
Yes.
And things don't always come easy. But the story that cracks me up is as soon as you win, you get the crown and then your family's able to come up. And so my parents gave me a lei and they hugged me. My brother gave me a lei and he looked at me and he said, get over yourself. And I remember being like, oh, like what a typical little brother thing to say. Like I was just like basking in this moment of like, hey, we finally did it. Yes. And him to like, get over yourself. But it's funny because that actually has stuck with me.
Wow.
And recognizing that it wasn't just me, myself that won, but it was a collective effort from so many. But that's just to say my family keeps me in check when they need to.
I love
when
that.
there's the moments when you need to tell me to get over myself.
You see that comment as actually a backwards compliment, right? Yeah. That it was a humility step of the Lord being spoken to your life.
Yeah, but just having that foundation again of my family to keep me in check.
It's good.
Don't let the ego get too big.
Yeah.
And I always say, and I think this came from Waxer from One Love. He would always kind of say a version of this, but I would say, representative is not my name.
Wow.
It's not my title.
It's good.
It's my job description.
Wow.
And so that has been something that has kept it there. But the second thing that really gives me hope is my community. So I always tell my office, like, I like to get out of that square building as much as possible.
Yes.
To remind myself why I am doing the job.
That's good.
Because it's really easy to get lost. And so I have gotten myself, like, I coach soccer. I used to help coach jujitsu. I have a jump rope team now, the Mililani Jump Club.
Rope team because if you know Lauren, she won Miss Hawaii, and your talent portion was to do a jump roping routine to Hawaii 5-0. I just hummed that, and she wants to get up and start jumping. Right
I've got a jump rope in the car.
So you have a jump rope team in the schools now, and that's why you're so fit now. 14 years into being at the state capitol as a state representative, and yet you're keeping the vitality and the liveliness, the joy of life, the joie de vivre.
Yeah.
Or as we say in Hawaii, just buckle loose for broke, brah. She's going.
Yeah. And I've learned if you're in that super minority, I've kind of boiled it down. I feel like you can go two ways. You can get super frustrated and jaded.
Yeah.
Or you can grow in patience and kindness.
Wow.
And that's kind of been my focus.
Yes.
Because it's very easy to just get frustrated, to get angry when your bills don't pass. Like, we haven't had one Republican caucus bill pass in my entire 13 years that we've been there.
14 now.
Now heading to 14. I'm hoping to make that different. I'm hoping we pass one.
That's good. You're speaking life.
And the other reason I get hope is I've been really working on the culture in the building. Policy is very important, and we're focused on that. But now, as the minority leader, meeting with the majority leadership saying, why are we not hearing Republican bills? How do we make everybody work more cohesively together? It's
good.
Rather than what we've been doing this whole time. So that's
kind
of been
which
my
is
focus.
Very black and white. How can we come into more of the middle, right, and be moderate and treat each other with aloha in the aloha state? So it's not just a super majority and all on one side. Thank you for saying that. And
it's not as split as people think. Like, if you look at our bills, 90 to 95% of our bills have either unanimous support or have both Republican and Democrat support.
It's good.
There's only those handfuls, and those are the ones you usually hear on the news.
Right.
Or the super controversial ones. But there is a big chunk. The vast majority of bills are things that everybody's working on that affect all of our communities. You just don't hear about that as often. So I'm really hoping...
and it makes more ratings, right? If we get you guys fighting, and if you're yelling and screaming and upset, and somebody has a scandal, and so representative or senator has done this, that's what makes the news. But I love, Representative Matsumoto, that you're bringing us back to the reality in the building is we do have a lot of aloha. Yes. That's good to hear.
Yeah. But for those ones that are super controversial, that's when we need people to come out. That's when we need better balance.
How do we find out when that happens? Is there an alert that goes out?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Thanks for asking, Dawn. So when you go to Hawaii House GOP, we have HawaiiHouseGOP.com. We have our mailing list called the Republican Report.
Okay.
We send out the Republican Report once a week, and we will list out the work that we're doing there, but also when we're in session, we list out... And we don't say good bills, bad bills. We will call them good bills and controversial bills.
Okay.
And you can decide, because people are split on some of them.
And people are smart. We can make a call for ourselves.
But we will give you the information.
I love that.
And when it's happening. And so we do have that once a week. But if there is, say, like when legalizing marijuana came up, we sent out a special one when it was time for people to testify.
I appreciate this because, and as somebody who's been at the state capitol yourself, and then I visit the state capitol quite often, things can happen in a matter of 24, 48
Yes.
hours. It feels to me like, wait a minute, they're going to go do a vote today. I have to get down to the state capitol to
Yes.
testify, right? Because usually you get how much hours notice?
It's 48 hours usually.
2 days, and
Yeah.
48 really feels like 24. Feels like I have to get down there on Tuesday.
Technically, it is 24 to have your testimony be on time.
Wow.
So we try to let people know it's happening.
Thank you.
Get your testimony ready. So all you have to hit is submit.
Send.
But the encouragement I wanted to give is even if you don't have time to write anything,
Mm-hmm.
just even clicking in and hitting support or oppose,
Right.
just clicking a button
Wow.
makes a difference. Because on my
counts.
end, as a representative, what I see on my computer
Yeah.
is I will see everybody's testimony and they have it either red, if it's their name in red, if it's in opposition,
Wow.
green if they're in support. So a lot
That's
of times
good to know.
I'm taking a snapshot
Wow.
of how many people, if everybody's in support, I'm not too worried about that bill. I'm not going to dig deeper.
Yeah.
If I see a whole bunch of red, I'm going to start digging deeper.
Oppose.
And put
Right.
oppose in there. And so
So
that
that's a
makes
good thing
difference.
to know. If I don't have time to do the full testimony, which I do, Lauren, I have stuff pre-written, ready. And as you
Yeah.
said, I just click submit.
Yes.
I just go and I cut and paste off of a Word document, put
Yeah.
it in there. But even if we are to click before that, whether you are in opposition or for,
Yeah.
right?
Support, yeah.
Support, then it's going to be seen.
Yes.
Because our vote does count, and our representatives
Absolutely.
and senators do look and see. And I
Yes.
would dare say that's what Representative Garcia said at the event the other night. He said that 13 or 14 Democrats also voted similarly to the Republicans
Yeah.
because they saw the amount of testimonies coming through on
Yeah.
some of these more controversial bills.
Yeah.
Either that or they didn't support, but they put a non-vote. Is that something that happens? A
They
no
can,
vote?
They can put a no vote. They can vote with reservations. We're also the only state, it's kind of weird, we're the only ones that I've met that can do that. But that testimony matters. When you see a
Yeah.
whole bunch of people coming out going, I can't, it's not as easy.
Yeah.
We're elected officials.
Right. You're
We have to
public
get-
servants.
Yes.
You're literally a representative
Of
of
the
your
people.
district.
Yes.
So I always go back to that when I go to the big building, I feel intimidated. I'm Dawn O'Brien. You know, I look like this. I'm a massive Polynesian woman. People think I'm a big mouth. I am. But when I get there, the little girl in me comes out and I feel like, well, they're important people. I'm not, or they're elected officials. And
not
then
that
I remember two words, public servant.
Absolutely.
That they are there, that I'm almost like a boss there. I'm like,
Absolutely.
wait a minute. I'm a boss lady.
Yes.
What's up? What's up, Hammers? I'm here today. So that does help to change things. I like these practical steps.
Yeah.
Now, I want to bring to forbearance here, or bring to our attention, you were talking about one of our representatives. I would have voted for him if I was in his district, but he won by a handful of votes.
Yes.
To talk about, does your vote really count? Can you tell us that story?
Absolutely. And so he won by 11 votes, but there have been votes in the past, in the last 6 years, that have won by 6 votes.
No. Literally almost a handful. If I was a big giant with 6 fingers, that would be a
Yes,
handful.
you could literally, it could be somebody's household. Right? That you go,
yes.
hey,
Let's all
one
vote
more
for
House
so
vote.
and so.
And so the thing that's so difficult here in Hawaii is everybody looks at the federal. You look at the presidential
Right,
elections, and
right.
yes, they matter. But your day-to-day life
Right.
is really
Right
affected by
here.
your state legislature.
Yes.
And so even if
That's a good point.
there is no big race, your state representative matters. And that balance I was talking about makes a huge difference. So we're at 9 right now.
Yeah.
If we get to 11, we can do roll call votes. And what that means is instead of
Wow.
just a voice vote where the speaker is able to say, oh, well, the
Yays.
yays were louder.
Nays.
Yes. Now it has to be a roll
count.
call vote where you actually have to be on record.
Thank you for saying that, because I've
Yeah.
been there in the House when you guys do that, the yays, the nays, and I sit there thinking, I'm a Chihu champion. I'm going to say yay really loud right now. I don't even care that I'm not down on the floor. I'm a person that they're representing. But I always thought, isn't it true that whoever's louder is going to get the vote then?
Yes. And so it's just not the best way to do it. The other thing I've been pushing for is we're one of the few states that don't use buttons. So in our state legislature, you are presumed a yes vote.
Wow.
As long as you're in your chair, it's a yes vote.
Wow.
Unless you stand up, get recognized by the speaker, and ask for a no
Oh,
vote.
bro, super cool. Aina style. We are way back country.
Yes.
We are in the back of the backs country.
Yes. And you have to turn in slips of paper.
Oh, no, you're joking.
No, I'm not joking. To the minority floor leader, who is now Representative Garcia. I used to have that job for...
I'm sorry.
And they have to stand up and read everybody's votes off of the slips.
Oh, my Lanta.
Yes. So I've been pushing that we have, bring
A
ourselves
more
up
formal
where
accountability.
that you can't just be an automatic yes vote.
No.
You have to push the green button.
Yes.
You have to actively be involved. And then for everybody sitting in that gallery,
Yes.
you'll be able to see a board and be able to go, oh, that's what's happening. Right now,
Wow.
it's super confusing.
No, and it's very convoluted. It's like
Yes.
swimming in murky water. You can't spot nothing in there. And that's, I think, one of the issues. I just pumped my brakes a little bit on the mouth and on the breathing, because it's a lack of accountability.
That transparency is a big piece. And I'm just going to throw
Transparency.
in one of the cool things our caucus did for the last 2 years is we did our listening tour,
Yes.
which I love.
I loved it. I
Yes.
loved it so much. I know one of the places you went to was Honouliuli Middle School, and you
Yes.
had yourself and all the guys, right?
Yes.
Because unfortunately, you're the only chick representative
Julie.
until, right?
Yeah,
And
until
then
Julie Reyes.
Yes.
So the next year.
Now we have more, but at that point it was you and the guys,
Oh, yes,
and it was
me and the
good to
guys.
see the panel at that time. But you guys went on a listening tour to hear what the people's concerns were,
Yes.
and you really did listen.
And so I call it kind of the reverse town hall. Normally, somebody at a town hall will ask a question, and I always joke the politician at the front gives a 1 minute, pretty unsatisfactory answer.
Pretty much.
And then
Thank
you
you
move
for
on.
being honest.
I mean, that's what happens. So we flipped it, and we said, we're going to ask you questions.
Wow.
So we started the night with, what is the most important issue to you? And we're going to spend 15 minutes on that. Then we went, what's the second most important issue facing the state?
Wow.
And we went through and we did
What were some of
5
the issues, if I may ask?
And this is what's super interesting. We did 5 locations.
Yeah.
We did it from Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
So we did
Around the
Mililani.
island,
Yeah.
yep.
So we did Mililani, Moanalua, Waianae, Eva, and then we went to Hawaii Kai.
Wow.
And what was so interesting is Waianae to Hawaii Kai,
Right.
the top 3 issues were the same. Every single place. Number 1, cost of living.
Yes.
And we dug deeper. So we then asked questions, what about cost of living?
Right.
What areas are hitting you the most? And of course, housing fell under that.
Absolutely.
The number 2 issue was crime and public safety.
Wow. Which is so real.
And number 3 was government transparency.
Holy smackdown.
So that was our 3. And so what
Cost of living, crime, and then government
transparency.
And each and every one of those, I would have said.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure those watching with us would have said the same thing.
And so what
What
we
did you do with that?
Is we also we did surveys. So we had over 5,000 surveys come back
That's
from each
good.
of our districts. Same top 3 issues.
So it wasn't just the people showing up in the building.
No.
You also had
We also
5,000
sent out
other surveys to count
Every
on.
single representative sent out the identical survey to their district.
That's good.
We were working together. We got all of that information back.
Wow.
And so now, if you take a look at our caucus package this year, which we are putting in, those are the 3 issues that we're covering. Cost of living, crime and public safety, corruption,
Wow.
and government transparency.
Thank you very much, because we have been known, and I've said this quite often if you've watched a number of my podcasts. Unfortunately, according to a national survey, the state of Hawaii, is the #1 most corrupt state in the United States of America. But on the flip side, that's a huge charge. That's a huge statement. And it's year after year after year. But on the flip side, what you just said is there's unity coming in the Republican Party. I believe that's a big part. And thank you for your part in helping to bring this unity and to set up. And there's been a number of other people. It's not just Lauren Matsumoto, but a number of other people helping to get more candidates, viable candidates as
Yes.
Republicans. But then to work together, as you said, getting those surveys, listening to your people in your area,
Yep.
your community. And then here's the deal, it's our first name, the United States of America. And we often say, united we stand, divided we fall. But there's not just a spiritual aspect of that, because divided we will fall. But when we have unity on the things that really matter. So thank you for doing those things, Lauren. Now, again, if you want more information on that, what's your website, Representative?
So the 2 is hawaiihousegop.com and repmatsumoto, like the shave ice.com. So repmatsumoto.com. So I can't remember.
She doesn't have eggs anymore,
No.
but
I know.
and God
Gotta
bless
start the Matsumoto.
Peterson's Upland Farm. But now she references Matsumoto Shave Ice.
Yes,
if
they
you're
don't forget
local,
it.
even if you're not local, if you're watching from the mainland and you came here on a tourist trip, you know Matsumoto Shave Ice.
Yes, I wish we were related.
I know. We could tithe off of that. But I love that you recapped. The Republican report is available. That's where we get those alerts. It's happening in in 2 days. It's coming up. And that's on the website, hawaiihousegop.com.
Yes.
hawaiihousegop.com. It's going to be there in the lower third on your screen. Or you can also go to Representative Matsumoto's website, which is
repmatsumoto.com. And I have my own e-newsletter too. If you'd love to get it. It is catered towards people in my district, but so if you live in Mililani Mauka, please sign up.
YPO.
Yes, in the YPO area. We have just a few streets in that, but everybody's welcome to come to our town halls, to our events, whatever we have going on. And the last piece of community engagement I want to make sure I plug is every year we do our Capital Talk and Tour. And so I open that up to whoever would like to come. So you can go to repmatsumoto.com. We're going to have the pop-up soon. And I open up the Capitol to you. So we give you a full tour.
I'm coming.
Yes. And actually the lieutenant governor and the governor have been really great. They have opened up their offices for our tour. They let us go into their ceremonial rooms. They've been really wonderful. So this is probably our 8th year doing the Capitol Talk and Tour.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. And I do it twice a year.
It makes it less scary.
It does, when you're able to see what it's like. And so we do it twice a year, and we do it during fall break and spring break. So if you have kids,
very timely,
you can bring them too.
And students and schools or other nonprofit organization. I know there's other special interests. I know Ho'olanapua, which is anti-sex trafficking. They're often lobbying for greater laws to be made.
Yep.
So thank you for doing that. The Capital Talk and Tour, and sign up on repmatsumoto.com.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I'm going to say March 12th, but that's just off the top of my head.
Okay. Because we're not sure when this is going to air, but
in mid-March.
So spring break, fall break.
Spring break, fall break, yes.
Now I'm going to pivot. She is married to a wonderful gentleman, Scott, and they have 2 beautiful Hapa kids. Now this is your firstborn, Noah.
My son asked us for about 8 months to start his own business, and he kept wanting, and he had different ideas. At first he wanted to write books and sell them on the side of the road, so we workshopped that.
Wow.
And then I don't know if you remember the beads that you iron and they fuse together. And
No.
So they're like little beads you put together and you iron it, and he could make keychains. And I told him, well, it takes you 45 minutes to make one. Realistically, you can sell that for like $5.
Right.
So he looked up other ways to make keychains, and he saw being able to engrave. And so he has been doing that for a year now.
And how old is he? Noah?
He's 8.
Oh my gosh.
So he was 7
an entrepreneur at 7.
But I kept putting it off because I go, that's a lot. And I remember so clearly we were driving home, and because I would ask him, why do you want to start a business? And he'd always tell me to earn money. And I go, again, it came up. And I go, why, Noah? And he goes, I have a plan. I go, well, what's your plan? And he said, I want to buy Bibles for people who don't have. Sorry. And I was like, oh, it just hit me right here. And I was like, my 7-year-old to say that. So he wanted to buy Bibles and give them to people. His second one is he wanted to save for college. He's like an old man already. And then number 3 is he wanted to take the whole family on a snow trip because he's always wanted to see snow. But it just was one of those, I remember so clearly driving home going, okay, we're starting a business. Half of my garage is going to be yours. So literally half of my garage is his workshop now. And so it's been cute to watch him, do these different things and be able to talk to others. And if you look at the bottom of his thing, he does have, his verse is Psalm 121:3. The Lord guards you, the Lord protects you, as the shade protects you from the sun. His middle name is Kamalu Ho'okele, and Kamalu means to shade or protect.
Wow.
So to just go with that verse, but just his mission. Once he said that, I went, okay, Scott, we're helping him open a business. Like, this is what we're doing.
I'm just going to go ahead and claim Lauren's child right now. Noah Matsumoto,
Yes.
who wants to raise money for Bibles, has a Bible verse on here, uses his middle name. But you know what? Your children, as Proverbs 31 says, your children will rise up and bless you because you have invested so much. And it just makes an old auntie cry because this is what we want more of in the Aloha State. This is what we want more of for our keiki. So thank you, Lauren, for what you have invested in your son. We want to see this in all of our kids. And then back to business because we're running out of time. But we used to have a lot of cottage industries is what it was called back in the day, right? Now we see a lot of pop-ups is what we call it, or makeke markets. And we also used to have a lot of mom and pops. Yeah. You just referenced Peterson's Upland Farms was literally your 4th generation. That was your great-great-grandpa, right? And then the grandpa, and then your dad and mom. Yeah. And nowadays with big box stores, and I'm not even going to name them because I don't want to. I mean, I shop them often enough, but I try to support local. Otherwise, we're not going to have locals. Yeah. We try to support each other's children. Otherwise, our children are all going to go to the continent or around the world. And we want kids of Hawaii, Keikioka Aina, like you, Lauren, to stay in Hawaii.
Yep.
Last question.
Yeah.
that kind of goes in with our little Aloha hero, Mr. Noah Kamalu Matsumoto. What is Aloha to you, Lauren? Because you're a daughter of Hawaii, fourth generation. What is Aloha to you, and who's an Aloha hero? Somebody who lives pure Aloha, either past or present, that you look up to.
The first thing that popped into my head when you said that is it was a picture, and I just imagine my family, and there's oftentimes when it's in July 4th is the time we go out, and there'll be probably 60 of us, because after, so many generations, there's a lot. One of those, typical, the wedding's super big. But just all of us out on the North Shore, at a family home. And I just remember all of us being out in the water, and everybody's on something different that floats. But to me, is that just that sense of being together. There's all the neighbors are out too. And that, I don't know why that's the first thing that popped into my head. And that's not typically, I guess, what you think when you hear Aloha. But to me, it is that love that everybody is sharing when we're out in the water together.
Yes.
And the Aloha hero that I have is, I'd have to say, my grandmother, Suzanne Peterson. I mean, her story is crazy. She came here on a one-way ticket from California, not enough money, lived at the YWCA, was working, tried to go to school for a little bit, ended up getting married to my grandfather, had 3 kids 1 year in a row.
Wow.
And then went back to college when my mom went to college. And she ended up becoming the first female department head of agriculture in the state of Hawaii.
Wow.
Under Ariyoshi and Wahei. But why she's Aloha hero to me is no matter who she met, there's still people who tell me stories about how they loved working with my grandmother. And I mentioned that before.
Yes.
When I go door to door, they
Yes.
talk about that. And she just was happy all the time. One of those where she goes, you guys aren't going to have an inheritance. I'm spending it on everybody now.
Oh my gosh.
Where she just wanted
I love that.
to give to everybody around her, to be there for the community around her. And so that for me is my Aloha hero.
Wow, Suzanne Peterson,
Yes.
what a living legacy
Yes.
she still has in
And
you.
we're blessed. She's 95 years old now.
Oh my land. That's wonderful.
She's now at my parents' house, so she gets to see her great grandkids all the time. And it's just so special.
Strong generational patterns and strong future promises. And this is the kind of ohana we bring to you, your screen, your home, because this is what we all can do when we connection with one another. Representative Lauren Matsumoto, thank you so much for spending time today. I'm going to be checking out room 302 at the Square Building a whole lot more. You can also find more information on repmatsumoto.com, or you can also go to the hawaiihousegop.com. But I recommend going to Lauren's own one, repmatsumoto.com.
We've got a lot of information and resources there.
We ran out of time. We're going to have you back. Thank you so much again, Lauren. Not just a former Miss Hawaii, but a forever Miss Hawaii. And there's an old quote that says, "Love makes the world go round, but Representative Matsumoto makes it go square at the Square Building." I'm putting out my own little cheap shots
I'm going
right here.
I'm going to use that quote opening day at the legislature. It's going to be there.
You really are one of my Aloha heroes, friend. Thank you for fighting the good fight at the Square Building. And I'll keep dropping in on you and dropping prayers and lei and just letting you know that the people love you. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Thanks again, everybody. And shaka fly. Chee-hoo!